Right now at 6, we have an update from a fatal hit-and-run crash from November in Knoll, Missouri.
Plus, we're still tracking active showers and storms across the metro, what that means for your morning commute coming up.
And some tips on how you can prevent chimney fires this holiday season.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chloe Arroyo. It's so good to be here this morning. It's been a wonderful hour so far.
We're so happy to have you, and for the rest of the week too.
Yes,
so we are in for a treat this week.
Yes, I'm so excited. It's going to be so fun. We're girl ganging it the whole week.
Yes, we are.
It's going to be a great time. You know, Mother Nature is also in full swing this morning. So full-blown girl gang this morning, giving me a lot to talk about, thankfully. But we have lots of rainfall on the radar. It's starting to clear out right now, but those southern counties are still going to have to look out for some scattered showers for that morning commute the next couple of hours or so. So keeping that in mind. So here's a look at that. Nothing is severe right now. We had some stronger storms just a couple of hours ago, but for the most part, they're relatively disorganized and they're starting to become more widespread. But take note of this line back here. This line is a result of the cold front that's pushing through behind that. So our lows last night were in the 60s and our highs today are actually going to be in the 50s. So our high is actually colder than our lows this morning. So Joplin and Pittsburgh starting to clear out. You can see the rainfall on the roads, but they're not seeing much rainfall anymore. They're going to start to clear out in the next couple of hours. That bus stop forecast, we've got some rainfall on the map still a little bit, so I wouldn't rule that out for the morning commute to school. And then this afternoon, as you're picking up the kiddos, we'll be clearing out, but temperatures in the mid-50s. We'll have that northwesterly wind along with that. So planning out your afternoon will be temperatures in the mid-50s, 56 for your high in Joplin, but sunny skies overall. So those clouds are going to clear out around 10 a.m. this morning completely, and then leaving us with clear skies for the entire 4 states. Temperatures, like I said, in the mid-50s. So here's what we're tracking. Marginal storms this morning. We'll still have the timeline and the updates on that coming up here in a bit. We're also going to talk about the next rainmaker, which is late Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So we'll keep an eye out on that, as well as the next change in the weather pattern. Late week, we could see another change, which could bring us some colder temperatures, followed by some warmer temperatures heading into the next week. So I'll have all of those details and more coming up.
All right, thanks, Chloe. We'll see you soon. McDonald County prosecutors dropped charges in a fatal hit-and-run case. McDonald County prosecutor Malia Cheney says, quote, the officer made a false statement in the probable cause affidavit, which would likely affect the case outcome. End quote. Now, sources say the officer stated a serial number was found on a lens linking it to a 1992 Ford F-250. However, the lens contained a model number, not a serial number. Now, that model number lens would fit numerous other years of Ford vehicles, not limited to the 1992 F-150. Well, the incident happened back on November 2nd in Knoll, Missouri. Gloria Trejo allegedly hit a pedestrian at South Kings Highway and Hall Ridge Road in McDonald County. The victim, 59-year-old Michael Pruden, died at the scene. Now, according to court documents, Trejo told authorities she first thought she had hit a deer, then saw it was a person, got scared, and left. Charges in the case can be refiled. Families, students, and staff are grieving after learning of the loss of one of their own. A student from Knoll Elementary School has succumbed to their injuries from an ATV accident last week. Counselors will be on school grounds starting today to provide support for those who may need it. In a social media post, the school district said, our hearts are with the students' families and loved ones during this incredibly difficult time. Well, 2 weeks ago, Braxton Thrasher, a 17-year-old, was severely injured in a hit-and-run accident in Carthage, Missouri. Now, in that time, several organizations, including the Domino's that Braxton worked for, have made efforts to raise money for Braxton's recovery. Now, late Thursday night, the Carthage Domino's released a statement they received directly from Braxton. It states in part, quote, I want to say I appreciate everything you guys are doing for me and my family with this fundraiser and for everyone that is supporting. It's amazing to see so many kind and caring people helping another person out in need. I'm positive every day, keeping my head up and working hard to heal. Thank you guys again for everything, end quote. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Missouri Southern State University graduated 244 students Saturday at the Leggett & Platt Athletic Center. The ceremony allows students to receive their master's, bachelor's, or associate's degrees. And the university also graduated 11 international students from 8 different countries.
It's amazing to see students grow here at Missouri Southern State University. It is a very warm feeling seeing these students start as freshmen and helping them every step of the way towards graduation. And when they walk across the stage, it's just a big celebration. It's a very happy moment that we have.
This is Missouri Southern's 83rd commencement ceremony. Well, according to the National Fire Protection Agency, nearly half of all home heating fires occur in December, January, and February. KOAM's Mitch Adams spoke with a Carthage-based sweep to find out more about preventing chimney fires.
We also strongly believe in the education in this industry. And we clean a lot of chimneys this time of year.
As the temperatures begin to get colder and colder, many people rely on a fireplace for warmth in their home. A fireplace can be an efficient and less expensive way to heat your home, but it can come with different hazards. Janie Frazier is the president of Alpine Chimney Sweep. It's her family business with around 40 years of history.
I am a master sweep. That means that I've been educated in the chimney and hearth industry.
Frazier sat down with us to give us some tips on how to make sure your chimney and fireplace are safe to use, without the risk of damage or, even worse, a chimney fire.
One thing that you cannot do, I mean, you can't see 20 feet up a chimney and say, yeah, it looks great and everything's fine. That's not possible. So we use a video camera that's specifically for our industry, and we video the inside of the flue.
When it comes to the full-on prevention of a chimney fire, Frazier gave us her best advice in making sure that your chimney and fireplace are safe to use this winter.
The easiest way I have found is to have it cleaned, or at least inspected. And we can send a camera up there. We can just visually inspect it. But at that point, you'll know what's real. Is it safe to use or is it not?
Frazier also took the time to share with us the different tools that are used in the trade and the different functions that they have for different jobs.
This is the newest and greatest. You know, this goes up the chimney, and we use a drill to whip out all the creosote. We're looking for any defects that may cause loss of life or property.
Educating people about some of the dangers is a reason for Frazier to keep doing the work she does.
I love going to meet people in their homes. I like educating them about how to use their fireplace and if they can use it, and if they can't, why not, and what we can do to make it better.
In Carthage, Missouri, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
Frazier said that getting your chimney cleaned also helps with venting and improves airflow to the fire, making it more heat efficient. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes, coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Well, buy now, pay later services had their best day yet on Cyber Monday, with consumers spending nearly $1 billion. Plus, mysterious drone sightings over multiple states have led to a new push for legislation. And Chloe Arroyo returns with another look at your Monday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Girard Square. Well, topping Nation Watch this morning. A new way to shop is gaining in popularity. Now, more Americans are using buy now, pay later services. Now, some people are turning to this plan to avoid accumulating massive credit card debt. Now, more and more retailers are adopting what is known as BNPL. A new report shows on Cyber Monday, consumers spent nearly $1 billion using buy now, pay later. And that was a record amount for a single day. Analysts say BNPL spending in the United States is up this year, and last year consumers spent more than $75 billion, up from $65 billion in 2022. Well, a former OpenAI employee and whistleblower has been found dead in his San Francisco home from an apparent suicide. San Francisco police say officers were called to the home of Suchir Balaji to perform a well-being check on November 26th. They arrived to find him dead from an apparent suicide. Investigators found no evidence of foul play. Balaji was an artificial intelligence researcher at OpenAI. Now, a day before his death, Balaji was named in a copyright lawsuit. Colleagues said they were devastated by the loss. Well, this morning there's public outcry and a new push for legislation after a rise in mysterious drone activity over the East Coast. A federal investigation is underway, though the Department of Homeland Security says there's no evidence of a current threat to public safety. Naomi Ruckham has more from New York.
It's hovering. It's sitting right there.
Mysterious drone sightings over multiple states, including New Jersey, have led to widespread confusion and growing calls for answers.
Americans are finding it hard to believe. We can't figure out where these are coming from.
The Department of Homeland Security and the FBI are investigating the drone sightings. The agencies say so far there's no evidence of a current threat to public safety or foreign influence. The FBI has already received thousands of tips on the sightings, though it says fewer than 100 of those have produced any credible leads.
There are thousands of drones flown every day in the United States.
Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas says his agency is sending more resources and personnel to New Jersey to help local authorities there address the sightings. New York's governor says her state will also receive federal support. But Mayorkas and other experts point out that more tools are needed to be able to deal with the growing threats that unmanned aircraft can pose.
Only parts of the Department of Justice, Department of Homeland Security, and Department of Defense are allowed to detect and mitigate drones. That means drones are going to have the upper hand because our authorities are woefully inadequate.
Now, some members of Congress are pushing for legislation to also give state and local governments the technology and authority to track drones. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Over the weekend, 2 men were arrested on trespassing charges for flying a hazardous drone operation close to Boston's Logan International Airport, according to a police statement. Now, that came after New York's Stewart International Airport was shut down temporarily Friday night due to drone activity in the area. And that's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chloe with a look at your forecast.
Thanks, Elise. Yeah, we're still tracking those showers and storms. Expect this in the next couple of hours to push out completely out of the area by 9:30, 10 a.m. Coming up in a bit, we're going to talk more about that full forecast as well as that long-range forecast. I'll have all those details coming up.
One Colorado couple finally got their dream wedding this week. Now, it's a celebration they could not have imagined just a year ago when the bride was going through a battle with brain cancer. Julia Donovan has the story.
Spruce Mountain Ranch had an extra buzz in the air Thursday afternoon, getting ready for what Clarence Louie calls a fresh start.
It's nothing short of a blessing.
Clarence, active duty, and Stephanie, a former military nurse, met at Barnes & Noble in North Carolina over a decade ago.
Just regular nerds, you know.
Since then, they've had a roller coaster of a journey. 5 kids and moved to Colorado Springs, and then a year ago, a headache that would turn out to be brain cancer for Stephanie. After surgery,
she could not even speak.
That traumatic period made Clarence even more thankful for his bride.
She's incredible. She's that person that will go out of her way for her patients as a nurse, for someone she doesn't even know.
And she's undoubtedly tough.
But also that same person who will cry watching a commercial.
Stephanie and Clarence got married in Vegas years ago, but Clarence always wished he could get a redo and give Stephanie the wedding she deserves. He applied to Wish Upon a Wedding, and the nonprofit, along with over a dozen other businesses donating their time and resources, finally made it happen. Now they can say they've been through the lowest lows.
Looking normal, but losing so many things you take for granted.
And come out on the other side.
You may kiss your bride.
Without him, I don't think I'd be where I am.
Starting over is an inherent part of what we do, especially as a military family.
Their fresh start solidified.
Now, Wish Upon a Wedding is based in Chicago, but the nonprofit organization helps people nationwide. Now let's check in with Chloe for a quick look at the forecast.
That's right. We are still tracking those showers and storms across the states, the 4 states. So we're going to continue to track that in the next couple of hours. So coming up, I'll have the full forecast as well as your long range forecast. It's all coming up in a bit. Well, welcome back to the KOAM Morning News at 6. We're continuing to track these showers and storms. They're pushing off southeast, so we don't have much left on them across the 4 states, but really areas in far southwestern Missouri and northwestern Arkansas around the Bentonville and Fayetteville area, they're still seeing those bands of showers and storms. But what I want to point out right here is this line of clouds. This is a result of our cold front on the back end of these storms. That's slowly but surely cooling us down across the 4 states. In fact, our low last night was in the 60s, and now our high today is going to be in the 50s, so a lot cooler than our low, funny enough. Now, for the kiddos bus stop to school this morning, we're going to be in the low 50s, 53 degrees for that stop this morning. And then for pickup this afternoon, we're going to clear out completely that sunshine ahead of us around the afternoon hours. We're going to be in the mid 50s across the board very consistently with that northwesterly wind, only 5 to 10 miles per hour, so shouldn't affect your commute too much. Now, planning out your afternoon here in Joplin, our high is going to be 56 degrees. Again, that sun is going to be peeking out quite a bit this afternoon. We could see a couple of increasing clouds after dinner time, but for the most part this afternoon we're going to be relatively clear, and we're going to continue on to that trend even into tomorrow until we head into tomorrow night, which I'll talk about here in just a second. So that's going to push out this morning those showers and storms. After 10 a.m. we're going to be pretty much in the clear from there on out. That northerly to northwesterly wind will be with us, again only 5 to 10 miles per hour, so a lot more calm than the winds yesterday, and we're going to be about 10 degrees colder than our highs yesterday. We were in the 60s on Sunday, and now today we're going to be in the mid 50s for our highs. So we still had that marginal risk for severe storms. We had pretty much a hail and wind risk this morning, but once those storms pass through the southern counties of the 4 states, that's when we're going to start to see that risk pretty much diminish completely. So overall, the big picture, here's our next rainmaker right here. This is late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. That's going to be ahead of a trough that's going to push off eastward, and then this next ridge pattern that we'll see is going to calm us down, bring us more high pressure, so calmer conditions but colder temperatures along with that later on this week. And then we could see another chance for rainfall heading into next week. We're talking around Christmas Eve, another chance for some showers. Of course, will be too warm for any snowfall, so the white Christmas will be minimal to none for that chance. So don't expect that, but we could see some rainfall on Christmas Eve. So I'll keep that in the forecast for now, but I'm only having that at about 20% with some isolated showers here and there. But yeah, the end of this week will be pretty cold, sunny skies from Wednesday to Sunday. But then our temperatures are going to get down into the 20s for the lows and only up to 35 for your high on Friday. Elise?
Well, topping Health Watch this morning, The American Academy of Pediatrics issued a new report about a baffling condition known as PANS, or Pediatric Autoimmune Neuropsychiatric Disorders. Now, not much is known about the causes and treatments for it, which is characterized by the sudden onset of symptoms such as obsessive compulsive behaviors, tics, or anxiety. Now, a subset of the condition is linked to strep infections, but the authors say antibiotics should only be recommended if the child tests positive for strep. Now, they recommend interventions such as cognitive behavioral therapy as the first line of treatment. The AAP also updated its recommendations for detecting critical congenital heart disease in newborns. CCHD is a birth defect that causes the highest number of deaths in infants due to congenital malformations. And new guidelines call for a simplified screening algorithm allowing for earlier intervention. And a diet low in omega-6 and high in omega-3 fatty acids in fish oil may slow prostate cancer growth. UCLA researchers monitored men in the early stage of the disease. Now, they found that after 1 year, those who follow the diet significantly reduce the growth rate of prostate cancer cells in their bodies. That's a look at Health Watch. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, Santa Claus makes a stop to visit some furry friends ahead of Christmas.
Plus, active showers and storms still march across the 4 states. I'll have all the details and what that means for your morning commute coming up. And the Parsons Police Department hits the storefront to help provide toys for kids this Christmas.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chloe Arroyo. It is so good to be here. I'll be here all week, so
yes.
I'm really excited. You are a fun time. Haven't worked with you in quite a while.
It's been a while, but it is always a treat to have Chloe with us. So we are
so
happy to have you this morning.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here and happy to have something to talk about, you know.
I know,
yeah,
right?
There's stuff going on the radar. Things, very important things to talk about, especially for folks in their morning commutes this morning.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Did you wake up from the storms this morning?
I was lucky enough to not wake up, but it was a little foggy for me.
It was. Yes, it was indeed. A little bit of patchy fog here and there. Thankfully, that's kind of dissipated for now, but I know a lot of folks did deal with that for their morning commute. So let's go ahead and jump over to our live radar right now. Speaking of the active weather going on right now, we've got some widespread showers and storms. This is more towards southern Missouri. But this marched all the way through the 4 states overnight last night, and now it's mainly in northwestern Arkansas around Bentonville, Fayetteville. They've got some isolated bands of showers and storms here and there. And then we also have a cold front pushing through this line of clouds right here. That's bringing colder air from the northwest. And then behind that is going to bring some northwesterly winds along with it for us folks this afternoon. So keeping that in mind for your bus stop forecast, we'll still see some rainfall in the next couple of hours, especially if you're further south across the viewing area. And then this afternoon, we're going to clear out across the board, sunny skies for all of us across the 4 states and temperatures in the mid-50s. We're going to still have that northwesterly wind, but only about 5 to 10 miles per hour. So nothing too extreme this afternoon. Our temperatures, like I said, are going to be in the mid-50s for this afternoon, 56 for your high in Joplin today. We could see some increase in clouds heading into dinner time past 6 p.m., but this afternoon is going to be pretty clear for the most part. So those storms are going to pass through later on today, leaving us with clear skies and temperatures in the mid-50s, and that's going to bring along a northwesterly wind along with that. So continuing to track those marginal storms as well as our next rainmaker, which will be late Tuesday night, and then we're also going to talk more about that late week change and the weather pattern all coming up in just a bit. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon, Chloe. Well, Santa's sleigh made a stop in Fort Scott yesterday afternoon to support a local nonprofit organization. KOAM's Mitch Adams has the details.
So many of our animals are like family. They're our children, they're our brothers and sisters, they're our kids. And we want to be able to include them too, so they can be part of it, just like this little sweetheart here. And that's to us very, very important.
The Southeast Kansas Animal Advocates brought Santa to Fort Scott to take photos with pets and their families. The photo shoot doubled as a fundraiser to support the treatment and placement of stray dogs and cats in new homes.
This past year, we've so far helped 575 dogs and 135 cats. So there's a lot of need in Southeast Kansas to not only spay, neuter, vaccinate, but also find homes for the excess number of pets.
Santa made his way from the North Pole to make sure these animals feel loved and to give their families a Christmas keepsake. With such a busy schedule, St. Nick has his eyes set on his plans after Christmas ends.
Well, so of course Santa Claus is looking very forward to the day after Christmas, which is typically a Bahamas type activity.
But those plans won't stop him from sharing Christmas joy with our four-legged friends.
You know, what I would like to see this Christmas is every single one of these little sweethearts not to be in a pound over Christmas.
In Fort Scott, Kansas, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
SCK Animal Advocates recently opened a low-cost spay and neuter clinic with services available in Arma, Kansas. Well, an annual Parsons tradition is happening as the Parsons Police and Fire Departments team up for their 10th year of Shop with a Cop. Now, the Shop with a Cop grants area children a chance to buy Christmas presents for themselves, but also their friends and families. Parsons PD hosts fundraisers for it throughout the year and have raised $14,000 for the area kids' Christmas presents.
You know, honestly, it's kind of eye-opening, you know, with these kids. They don't always, you know, dive right in for, you know, electronics and games. You know, it's amazing to see the responsibility that some of these young kids actually have. They're looking for coats. They're looking for, you know, clothing. They, you know, end up going and trying to get, you know, presents for their, you know, siblings. And that is actually, you know, heartwarming, you know, to see.
The Parsons PD has a legacy fund which supports this event and also supports area scholarships. The Joplin Mineral and History Museum held its third annual gingerbread house competition. Over 45 gingerbread houses will be displayed until next week. The competition is broken up by size of the gingerbread houses and age groups. Now, this year's event also included a craft market for area vendors.
We are part of the community and we want people to come out and enjoy the history of Joplin, get to know it a little more, to come in and get involved and try something different, try some of these great original type houses, and come see, get some ideas this year for and what you can do next year.
The prizes for the top 3 in each category included a cash prize and a gift basket. The Cat Fanciers Association held a cat show and contest at the Newton County A&M Fairgrounds. Over 150 purebred and household cats competed at the show. Now, the purebred category included the 46 recognized cat breeds by the CFA. The top winners receiving ribbons, and each purebred cat had to live up to the breed standard in order to win.
Each and every one of these animals has something special and beautiful and unique within them, and I get to bring that out and show it to people. I get to educate people and teach the cats and share my love of this hobby.
The first 100 children to attend the cat show got a free cat coloring book. How about that? And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. President-elect Donald Trump's inaugural fund is getting a financial boost from Amazon and Meta. And we're tracking rain chances for today. We'll have what to expect with Chloe Arroyo in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. But first, here's a live look from Girard Square. In Consumer Watch this morning, The busy December holiday travel season is expected to kick off at the end of this week. AAA predicts more than 119 million Americans will hit the roads, rails, skies, and seas. Now, for the 107 million expected to drive over the next 3 weeks, the average price of regular gas per gallon continues to hover just over $3 per gallon, according to AAA. ABC News has agreed to pay $15 million to President-elect Donald Trump's Presidential Foundation and Museum to settle a defamation suit, according to court documents. The president-elect accused ABC News host George Stephanopoulos of acting with actual malice or with a reckless disregard for the truth after the anchor said that Trump had been found liable for rape in a March interview with Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Now, last year, a New York court found Trump liable of sexual abuse, not rape, in a civil case brought by writer E. Jean Carroll. Now, in a statement to CBS News, ABC News said it's pleased the parties have reached an agreement to dismiss the lawsuit. And Moana 2 is still going strong, topping the weekend box office with more than $26 million. Now, Wicked also continues to sweep in the green with more than $22 million, and it was a record low opening weekend for Sony's take on Marvel's Kraven the Hunter, debuting a third with $11 million. And that's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chloe with another look at your forecast.
Well, thanks, Elise. Yes, we're still tracking those showers and storms, not as prominent as they were earlier, mainly for northwestern Arkansas, southwestern Missouri. You guys are still seeing a couple of bands of showers here and there. Notice this line right here. This is pushing from the northwest to the southeast. That represents our cold front that's pushing through behind this line of storms. So that's going to cool us down just a little bit, more so into the 50s than into the 60s, which resulted in our low just last night. So off to school, the kiddos will be in temperatures in the lower 50s, then we'll warm up and clear out into the mid 50s for your afternoon as the kiddos get out of school this afternoon. Temperatures in the mid 50s, 56 for your high in Joplin. Now 4 p.m. will start to cool down just a little bit, and a couple increasing clouds mainly after 6 p.m. or so. So keeping that in mind for the rest of your afternoon. Once that rain pushes out, the clouds push out, we're going to be pretty calm, cool and collected for your afternoon today, and that will continue into tomorrow as well. And we'll keep that as an update for you coming up in just a bit. Now it's almost time to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. They're up right after the break, but first, let's see what's happening on CBS Mornings.
I'm Tony DeCopel. Coming up on CBS Mornings, Big News America. David shows us why tens of thousands of people are flocking to a town with a population of 2 to celebrate the holidays. And Vlad talks with Kennedy Center honoree director Francis Ford Coppola. All that coming up on CBS Mornings.
All right, well, it's time to celebrate some Monday birthdays here in the 4 states. We're going to start with Ayla Mae Robinson celebrating birthday number 1. Happy birthday.
How precious. Happy birthday, Renly Penrod from Dennis, Kansas. We hope you have a wonderful day.
And heading over to Fredonia, a happy 9th birthday to Noah Puckett. It says here, love, Mom and Dad.
And double digits, happy birthday to Annabelle Fagan from here at KOAM.
And a happy 18th birthday to Adam Wright in Fort Scott.
And happy 24th and 85th birthday, Ezra and Dawn Schlesman from Pineville, Missouri. A happy birthday from their grandson and grandfather.
And a happy 26th birthday to Chanel Robinson. It says here, happy birthday from Mom and Dad. We love you.
And Jamie Fuentes, happy 30th birthday, 30 flirty and thriving from Parsons, Kansas. Love from your family.
And heading over back to Fort Scott, a happy 44th birthday to Rory Chaplin.
And happy 52nd birthday to Leda Natalini from Scanlon, Kansas.
And in Nevada, happy 56th birthday to Tandy Pike.
Hope you have a happy 67th birthday, Arnona Bogner.
And Richard Garner celebrating birthday number 78. Happy birthday.
And happy birthday to Courtney Bauer. Happy birthday from your love, your family.
And continuing our list with Sebastian, Tristan, and Catherine Parrish, their triplets celebrating their 9th birthday. Says here, love from all of your Kansas family. Happy birthday.
Oh, and happy birthday, John Duggan. Happy 81st birthday.
And in Fort Scott, a happy 36th anniversary to Bill and Pamela Haley.
Oh, and happy birthday, Kaylee Fitz. We hope you have a wonderful day.
And last but not least, a happy birthday in Carthage to Judy Korn. Well, that was certainly a wonderful, fantastic birthday list, and we sure love celebrating them with you. So if you'd like to submit your birthdays and anniversaries, please do so by submitting them to birthdays@KOAMnewsnow.com. Be sure to include those wonderful messages, photos to meet the deadline that you see there at the bottom of your screen. And it's also important to include the date of your celebration when submitting as well. Let's head over to Chloe with a full look at the forecast.
Well, thankfully, a lot of folks this afternoon for their birthdays today will end up clearing out this afternoon, leaving us with some mild temperatures, a little colder than what we saw yesterday. Right now, this is our live radar. We have some bands of showers and storms that pushed through. This marched through all the way through the 4 states overnight, and now the majority of our counties in the area are clearing out completely. So that morning commute becoming less and less of a hazard in terms of rainfall, rain, and storms. So we have this line behind the storms. This represents our cold front on the back end of these storms. That's bringing cooler temperatures this afternoon, and really the reason why our highs today are going to be lower or a little bit colder than our lows last night. Our lows were in the 60s, and then we're going to be in the 50s today. Off to school this morning, we're going to see some rainfall a little bit with that, but as that pushes off south and east, you won't have to worry about that much longer. Now we're going to clear out into the afternoon, just like I mentioned earlier, leaving us with beautiful sunshine today. Now we're going to be in the mid 50s today, but we'll also have that northwesterly wind on the back end of that front. That's going to keep us a little bit on the cooler side this afternoon, just compared to the warmer temperatures we saw yesterday. Now planning out your afternoon, those clouds are going to clear out until the afternoon hours, and we could see a couple increasing clouds, not much, but a couple increasing clouds nonetheless, more so after 6 p.m. or later on this evening. Again, those northwesterly winds are going to stick with us and continue to do so. Once that front passes through, we'll see those clouds push through and clearing us out completely again in the 50s, mid to upper 50s across the board, and then that northwesterly wind along with it. Now, this morning we had that slight risk, or excuse me, I guess I should say marginal risk, technically speaking, that brought the chance for hail and wind, and luckily it has continued to disorganize a little bit more. And so once those storms push through, we won't have this marginal risk or any shaded region on the map at all. That'll push off out of our viewing area completely. Now, overall, looking at the big picture, heading into Tuesday night to Wednesday morning, this is our next weather maker. Another chance for showers and potentially some storms here and there. This is ahead of a trough that'll push off eastward eventually. And then afterwards, we're going to enter into a ridge that's going to bring us high pressure and calmer conditions, but colder conditions into the end of this week. And then the weekend will be calm as well before we see another change in the weather pattern. We're tracking the chance for some showers. This is a long-range forecast into next Tuesday. This is around Christmas Eve, so keep that in mind. We won't have a white Christmas by any means. We'll be a little on the chillier side, so keeping that in mind, but we could see some showers here and there. So here's a look at your 7-day forecast overall, plus the next 3 days afterwards. Like I said, we'll have that chance for rain later on Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Then we're going to calm down. Cold temperatures, especially on Friday. Look at your high only in the 30s. A calm weekend ahead, but then another shift in the weather pattern. I'm only going to put 20% on that chance for showers on Christmas Eve, but still mark your calendars for that and keep that in mind for any of your plans. Now, coming up when the KOAM morning news switches on over to Fox 14, a Georgia man is reunited with his cat after being apart for 11 years. Stick around.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. McDonald County prosecutors have dropped charges in a fatal hit-and-run case. McDonald County prosecutor Malia Cheney says there was a false statement in a probable cause affidavit, which would likely affect the case outcome. Now, sources say the officers confused the model number with a serial number, and that model number lens would fit numerous Ford vehicles. Well, family, students, and staff are grieving after learning of the loss of one of their own. A student from Knoll Elementary School has succumbed to their injuries from an ATV accident last week. Counselors will be on school grounds starting today to provide support for those who may need it. And the 10th annual Parsons Shop with a Cop took place over the weekend. The Shop with a Cop grants area children a chance to buy Christmas presents for themselves and also their friends and families. The Parsons PD had a legacy fund that supports this event and also supports area scholarships. And that's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Now this afternoon, just a little recap, we'll be in the 50s, the mid-50s this afternoon, 56 for your high in Joplin. We'll have that northwesterly wind along with us, but overall your 7-day forecast looks a little bit like this. We'll see our calmer conditions and cooler conditions at the end of this week, 35 degrees for your high on Friday. So mighty chilly, but we'll still have that sunshine along with us. We're also tracking another chance for some showers on next Tuesday, which will be Christmas Eve. So that's pretty far out, long range in the forecast, but still something to keep an eye on in the meantime.
Absolutely. I think we need a few more chilly days because it's time.
Indeed.
It's December. It's time, you guys.
We don't need 60s
no,
right
we
now.
don't.
Yes,
all right.
exactly.
Thanks, Chloe. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making herb de gratin potatoes in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, an event organizer from the OCH Event Center invites us to a winter wonderland starting later this week.
Plus, a Missouri man is hailed a hero after saving a mom and her 2 children from a rollover crash. But that'll wrap it up for now. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.